One. It's one. All right, good luck, guys.
And welcome back to Santa Barbara, California for the WPH Junior Handball Alliance Gold Cup. My name is Dave Vincent alongside Coach Roberto Chavez as we catch this 19 and under semifinals of the contender bracket with Juan Avila from Tucson, Arizona up against Isaac Garcia, who is serving the ball from San Jose, one of your kids, Roberto.
Yes, he's one of my kids of the 11 that I started with. We have 9 that are still playing with us, and they've survived this long to the point this is his 4th year with us, and he's attending UC Santa Cruz now and still playing handball. So he's one of maybe 9 collegiate ball players that we have that are playing right now.
This is the Gold Cup of Junior Handball. It's a traveling perpetual trophy, and how good would that thing look in San Jose at the YMCA as you carry on the work of Sal Aber and all the stuff that you've done there?
Well, it looked good right in the entry way into the membership area. Gabby Cressini, who's the director there of the youth programs at the YMCA, is a great supporter of handball, and has provided us our youth program there, and on Saturdays and on Thursday evenings, and also supports our annual junior Kevin Del Grant junior championships there in August. She's already pushing Mr. Fred Lewis to see if San Jose can sponsor the Gold Cup next year.
Well, I think probably just been awarded by asking the question. I know that Fred wanted to hold one in Tucson, Arizona, but San Jose is a good place. Played at that club a few times, and you have a lot of support there. It's a hotbed for handball.
Well, we have currently we have about 42 ball players, junior ball players there, and that doesn't include the general membership of handball players that we have. We have close to 60 adult ball players, if not more, that are playing there. 4-wall, 3-wall, 1-wall players.
Isaac Garcia serving here. Any relation to the other Garcias that were around the San Jose handball community?
Garcia, like Chavez, is a is a very famous name. Happy birthday to my tío Cesar Chavez. His birthday was yesterday, and holiday was yesterday in California. Isaac is one of many ball players that we get from one of the high schools, local high schools, Downtown College Prep. I picked him up, I think, when he was a junior. At the time, he was in a baccalaureate program in which he couldn't attend our summer handball camps, but he was attending, he went to a survival camp up in Colorado for a summer. He ended up going to the Dominican Republic the year before, and did other travels before I met him. Very nice, composed young man, very polite. He fits a perfect example of a good character handball player.
So young kids can be polite? How do you pronounce that? Is that with a
that's with a capital P. One of the things that we do with our youth program, because our kids are pretty rough at the edges when they come on in. I'm old school. I've been a school teacher, administrator at the universities, as well as at the secondary and middle school areas. And so I teach the kids a lot of etiquette, a lot of court etiquette, especially. We had a lot of kids coming in in the beginning, and as I mentioned, they were pretty rough looking. During the course of a year, all the long hairs chopped their hair off. All the vulgarity ceased. The kids became very polite, saying good morning, hello to everybody at the Y. Miss Gabby Cressini just saw the changes, the extreme changes that these kids went through during that first year, that Isaac, Eddie Gutierrez, Rafael Mascoro, Salvador Guerrero, and Javier Hernandez, 4 all 5 of them are here playing. In fact, they're all in college right now, and they were the handball team or the handball program was selected the youth program of the year, and the handball players were these 5 gentlemen were selected as youth of the year. That was 2 years ago.
You're listening to the voice of Roberto Chavez, the coach of the San Jose team. Now, I called you guys the Spartans. What is actually your name?
Oh,
Do you have
okay.
like a team name?
Okay. Well, you know, I teach at San Jose State University. I teach handball there and also coach the handball team. So the Spartan program, or the San Jose Spartans, we have the San Jose Spartan handball team.
Okay, all right.
Okay. And so, and then we have Team San Jose. And Team San Jose plays out of the Central YMCA. And so even the collegiate, even when the Spartans aren't playing at their school site, they play with Team San Jose at the YMCA, and they participate with everybody that are not collegiate ball players, but juniors. And let me tell you, our juniors can really teach a lot of these collegiate ball players how to play ball.
4, serving 3.
Score is 4-3 with Avila wearing the yellow shirt from Tucson, Arizona, up against Isaac Garcia, who you said is kind of a cultured kid. He's studying Latin American studies at the University College of Santa Cruz.
You know, one of the factors of being a coach, you have to be a role model to these kids. You know, a lot of times, you know, they look up to adult images. That's what's really good about them playing at the Y. We had a lot of positive adult images that have taken a lot of these kids under their arms. They're sponsoring them.
4, serving
And
3.
his major, Latin American Studies, is like my major was at Northridge, where Alcantar is attending right now. He's playing in the next court. I majored in Chicano Studies at Northridge. He's majoring in Latin American Studies.
3,
Our
serving 4.
society has changed over the last 30 years, where migrations from Latin American countries have really increased in the Americas here, especially in California. So now you got a extreme number of Latin American cultures that are here in California, and that's what he's studying, Latin American studies.
Point.
Well, he's also been studying Steady Freddie Lewis with that 2-wall pass that he just put on
4, serving
Juan
4.
Villa.
He's a real disciplined ball player. He's one of the few ball players that I've trained that actually will do what I tell him to do. Just like mathematics, you know, practice makes perfect. Handball's the same way. If you don't practice playing handball, it's not going to improve your game by playing handball. You got to practice those strokes, practice those kill shots, practice those back walls, practice the, you know, ceiling shots. Be disciplined to do that. You know, practice is real difficult, but if you're disciplined, it'll show on your game, on game day.
We talked to Isaac earlier before he stepped on the court. Of course, he's one of your students from San Jose, and we asked him a series of questions. He said that, you know, he played 3-4 years or so, and that you invited him to play for the first time, and that's what got him hooked. We asked him what tournament he inspires to go to or he wants to play at, and he said he wanted to play at the Sacramento Open because he heard the food was good. Which is true. You and I both played at that tournament multiple times. The food is always great there. You're watching the live broadcast here of the 19 and under contenders, I believe. This is not part of the team championship, but the contender division. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. What's the difference between the team awards and the contenders? And why isn't Isaac one that would be on the team singles?
Well, what happened was that we had a challenge for each one of the age divisions. Isaac is 19 right now. He's playing on, I think, Team San Jose. We have 2 teams. Mata La Mosca is Team 2, Team San Jose is Team 1. And Isaac was playing, I think, Collado. Lauren Collado was our number 1 ball player for that. And Isaac was playing doubles, was his partner in playing doubles. So if he wanted to challenge in to play Collado for that spot, he had that opportunity. But going to school, both of them, even Lauren, you know, going to St. Mary's community, going to over there, was real difficult getting the boys to play one another. The only time they have it chance to play one another is usually on Saturdays or the weekends when they come home. So Lauren being a national champion, he was given the opportunity to represent Team San Jose for the 19 and under. Isaac is can play just as well as he does, but they do well playing together in doubles. In fact, this is the first time they played together in doubles. So most of our ball players are playing for the first time with somebody who's new to them.
And how are your teammates liking the whole team concept? This is an individual sport, but it seems like you could play for yourself and also your team at the same time. I kind of like this team concept and wish that they had it more in regular handball brackets. What's your thoughts? The morale from your guys as you drove down yesterday?
This is probably one of the best things to do, is bring the kids together like this, because what it does is teaching them about teamwork. Even though the only time they're going to do teamwork is when they're playing doubles. But as a team in general, we're talking about as a group. It brings them all together to cheer one another, motivate one another, inspire one another. That's what it's all about. And so they feed off each other. You know, I'm the man. You know, the hot and cold. You know, I go over there and I'll give them some constructive criticism, and they'll put their head down, and I'll tell them, get your head up, stop your crying, get in there, and get on your toes and start dancing. Because that's what handball is all about. If you can dance, you can play handball. And so so that team concept really gels and it solidifies the group together, especially when we travel. You know, they travel together together, and they bunk together, and they play together. And so what we're seeing here is just the development of the future of America handball players, both singles and double players. They're going to be possibly future pros if they decide they want to go that way.
Right.
You know, but what I try to do is let them know you play, have fun. As long as you're in school and getting yourself an education, I'll continue to coach you and help you out. You know, your endeavors in your education. So we got one of our boys over here, Javier Hernandez, who is attending Evergreen College, and he's being sponsored by a very outstanding Grand National Champion, Kevin Del Grant, is sponsoring his scholarship to attend college.
You're listening to the voice of Roberto Chavez, coach of the San Jose team, as well as, I always say this wrong, Mata La Mosca?
Mata La Mosca.
Mata La Mosca.
That's a terminology, handball
Kill
terminology.
Fly kill.
Fly kill, you know. But if it was interpret in English, it would be kill the fly.
Close enough.
So you have to be a handball player to know that terminology. So in reference, all my college players are role models for all my junior high kids and my high school kids, because these are college players playing in college, playing in collegiate nationals, and they said, "Can I do that?" And I said, "So long as you stay in school and I'm coach, you know, you can do that. You know, we'll help you get a scholarship, we'll help you get sponsorship, we'll do whatever you want, as long as you want to continue your education."
Score here is 8-7. That's going to be a replay. The ball hit Garcia's shirt. This is the semifinals of the 19 and under contenders. Isaac Garcia from San Jose and Juan Avila from Tucson. Right now in the team awards, just through 1 o'clock this afternoon, it was Santa Barbara with 66 total points, Tucson 45 points, and San Jose 42. Your other team has 28. But that's just through 1 o'clock. Now, there are some of your players, like right now in these semifinals, going on this afternoon, and you start winning some of those, Roberto, and you're certainly going to be right there in the lead. Last night when we closed out, you're just 2 points away from Santa Barbara.
Yeah, so right now we have Steve Contreras and Eric Torres that are playing one another in the finals, I think, in the 21 and under.
And you can get some points for that. Of course, John Bike coming over from the high desert. He's controlling the points for this Junior Handball Alliance Gold Cup. It's a perpetual trophy. Let's take a look at that trophy live right now. Roberto, let's flip our screen over to that perpetual trophy that's going to be traveling around with the winning team. Let's look at it. This trophy is about 3 feet tall. It weighs 40 pounds or so. It would look really good on display in San Jose. Of course, I know that you'd love that. Now, what would happen if your San Jose #2 team won? Where would it be on display there?
Same place.
Same place,
at the
YMCA.
They're all Y ball players.
If a person were to want to donate to your organization or to help out with the cause, how would they contact you? What would be your contact information for those that are listening to this and say, hey, I like the way that your passion is and how you approach the kids? I'm sure you wouldn't turn down a donation. How would they get a hold of you?
Okay, they can get hold of me via the YMCA, the Central YMCA in San Jose. The best way to get hold of me is
down at the handball courts every single day.
Yeah, at 6 o'clock in the morning. They can get hold of me. Anybody who wishes to make a donation to this worthy cause can make a donation directly to the Central YMCA or to the WPH Junior Handball Alliance. And any of those two organizations, all you have to do is memo Team San Jose or on their checks, and in turn, the funds would go directly to our players. When I say to our players, these funds go to provide resources for tournaments, travel, equipment, which includes balls and gloves. With a team as large as what we have, I think in December I ended up getting 2 dozen pairs of gloves, and they're all gone. They just go real quick because the kids are playing on a daily basis.
Now, why is it, Roberto, in the sport of tennis, you see tons and tons of these junior tennis players all carrying $200 or $350 rackets, and their parents are paying their expensive memberships to get into these clubs and private lessons that cost anywhere between $100 and $300 an hour, and yet in handball, we're constantly having to give clothing and shoes and gloves and to try to keep the players into the sport. It's almost like we're begging them to play, but then once they do play for the first time, they get addicted to it. Why is the difference in the cultures between the two sports?
Well, with handball, the kids or the youth that play handball are from a socioeconomic background that's quite different than those who play tennis.
But you see, Venus and Serena came out of Compton.
Yeah, they did. And evidently somebody saw the potential behind those two young ladies and invested in them. And the same thing applies with our ball players, our junior ball players. These are they're part of our future. Unlike most of them play handball because they love the sport. They don't look like they're not into it to be a pro. They just want to play, enjoy the ball, the sport, and in the long run, they're looking to see what handball can do for them. Now, as I mentioned, right now, as an example, at San Jose State University, I'm trying to build our handball program up there. It's very difficult because of the fact that in California, all the universities continue semester after semester, keep on increasing the tuition fee. Due to that, many of my college ball players ended up dropping out of the four-year institutions, to Santa Cruz, out of San Jose State, and going back to the community college because they could no longer afford tuition fee. So what I'm trying to set a scholarship program up in regards to supporting these players, and not to pay for their entire tuition. I'm talking about like maybe a $500 book scholarship a semester, maybe $1,000 a year, something that can provide them a little assistance, because you know what, one book can cost you $100 now. So
right.
We try to do those type of things there to help support the players, and then the same thing applies with our kids that are not in college. Get them to play. I have them, if they're part of our program at the YMCA, they have to maintain a 2.0 GPA at all their studies. If they're not doing well in their studies, we will provide them tutorial assistance. We'll provide them other assistance in planning for their future. We're talking about that. If they're going to continue their education, I being a former college recruiter, I will give them all the information necessary making sure that they're on task with their studies, their A through G requirements in order to enter a four-year institution.
Now, Roberto, not to interrupt you here, but your protege is losing 11 to 15, and I know that during all this talking, you have to still be watching what's going on here with Isaac Garcia down. If you had the ability to take off your headset and walk in there and give him some advice, what would you give? And what is your coaching style in tournaments like this? Do you stand at the door and give hand signals, or do you just wait till the match is over and then try to correct afterwards?
Well, I try to tell them to look my way. It's okay to look back to see if you need any help. I'll be there. But it's difficult to be in 6 different courts at the same time. Usually what happens is that they will get their butterflies, and then Isaac is the type of ball player that bangs, 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 and continues and ends up playing in a tiebreaker all the time. You know, doesn't give up.
What do you think the effect on these kids are when they look back for the first time and see that the cameras are on them and they're being broadcast around the world? Do you think it gets a little bit of nervousness put into their underneath their skin? I don't know if you played with cameras on you, but it certainly does make you think about your shots a little bit more.
Yeah, I think they're enjoying it. You know, when you're focused on the game, you don't even see the cameras or the audience. You're just focused on the ball, the flow of the ball, and trying to get there and retrieve it. And so I think they're both doing well for being under the cameras.
Isaac now turning around and serving left-handed. Is this something you've seen from him?
Yeah, I try to teach all my kids to play ambidextrous. Okay, and even to my smallest ones, my 9s, 11, 13-year-olds, they're all learning how. Even though they don't know how to hit the ball yet with their left hand, they're learning the steps, they're learning the moves, they're learning how to turn, how to wait, and then it's just a matter of time before they learn how to stroke it and return it properly.
Well, during that timeout, Isaac came back, turned left-handed, and scored 3 straight points, and now he's down by 1. So he didn't look back at you, but maybe he was channeling some of what you were saying.
There he goes, mata la mosca.
And now he's back in again.
What happens is a lot of times if my left hand's not working, I start serving right-handed. And the kids are always watching at the Y when I'm playing. And so they pick up different things, watching the older ball players. Oh, nice shot.
And now we're tied at 15. It looked like Avila was going to run away with this.
15 serving 15.
And that broke the momentum with Isaac serving left-handed for a few shifts, and now he's back to his right hand again. This ball is a huge setup for Avila, who bends over the top, being coached by the great Fred Lewis and Abraham Montijo. Talking to Juan Avila, he's studying to be a registered nurse. Said that 3-wall Venice Beach was his favorite tournament. Favorite sport is handball. Favorite player is Fred Lewis. He's 18 years of age, and he started playing at Freedom Park, which you're probably not familiar with, but Freedom Park is a park on, I believe, 29th or 22nd Street in Tucson, Arizona on the south side. They have a lot of sports facilities there. Abraham Montijo, Ashley Moeller worked there, Francisco Romero. Got these kids onto this one court, and within 1 year had a tournament where they had over 40 players. I believe 47 entered a one-court, 3-wall tournament, and that was 47 brand new players that never played handball before. So it's a lot of what I see going on in San Jose with your program is mirrored almost perfectly with Y2K, and the way that their philosophy is about focusing on the social aspect of the game, focusing on getting the kids to be better citizens, and it's almost less about handball and more about becoming good women and men in society.
Kind of like the YMCA slogans, you know,
right?
Trying to build character, citizenship, you know, within all the kids that come in their institution there, and this is what it's all about. You know, it's a real good reflection. Similar to like in San Jose, we have a large number of outdoor players, 1-wall players, 3-wall players that are out there, and when they have their tournaments, Parks and Recreation or somebody will put it together. We'll have registration that one day, and they'll have like 50, 60 ball players. to play.
Wow.
You know, it's not. They just put a weekend advertisement,
Right.
put it up, and boom, they come out.
Now you have that good weather in San Jose. In Tucson, we have great weather, but unfortunately, when it comes to three-wall, you better get down there at about 7 o'clock in the morning because
Be fry.
it's too warm. I remember last year during the heat of summer, players were getting ready for the three-wall nationals in Toledo. They get down there at 7 o'clock, and by about 10:30, it's already 104 degrees. Three-wall is somewhat limited in Tucson.
Kind of like Vegas, huh?
Very similar. Unfortunately, yes. You see Juan really focusing on keeping his head down after the serve.
Nice.
You gain control, you lose power when you do that, but something that Juan is working on. Juan wearing the yellow shirt representing Team Tucson. Watch how he stays down on the serve here, Roberto. Keeps his head down.
Nice form.
Trying to make sure that he guides it where he wants it to go. Juan is what I consider a handball brat. He's always in the court playing and always down at the club waiting to find a game. And he has really nice hair.
Oh, nice shot. Nice
and
shot.
an inside-out swing, and he gets another point there. Crowd here is starting to get involved as well. Score is 19-15 after Garcia was able to tie it. What I've noticed from both of these players is pretty good sportsmanship on this match here.
Yeah. Polite.
Both of them are very nice kids. Now, I play with Juan Avila, and I see him down at the club. He's never said a bad word that I've ever, and when I play with players, there's always bad words being said. But with this kid, he's really nice, and I can tell that your students have respect for the game.
Well, I tell them to do as I say, not as I do.
That's smart.
You're starting to see the wear and tear on some of these kids because they've already played 1 or 2 matches already.
Right.
You know, but that's okay. They're young.
This is the Junior Gold Cup of Handball, sort of the inaugural big national tournament that we're holding for the Junior Handball Alliance. We're in Santa Barbara, California. My name is Dave Vincent alongside Roberto Chavez, who is the coach of Isaac and also trying to give him hand signals. Isaac doesn't want to have anything to do with you right now, Coach.
He's ignoring me.
You could be ordering chicken wings and Hooters right now, and he wouldn't even look over here. He's focused.
Okay.
I know it's difficult. I have often had Fred Lewis in the booth with me, and when he's watching a Luis Moreno match, he wants to take the headset off and run to the back glass and pound on it. And there's a quick point.
Serving left-handed again.
Well, it got him 4 straight points last time. I was surprised that he turned around and went back to right-handed. I mean, there's something about this serve that confuses Juan Avila, and if Garcia can just stick with it, that's 6 points now. Actually, 6 straight with his left.
17, serves 19.
We're at 17-19 here. This is game number 1. And now that's another point, 18-19. So I guess Juan Avila's kryptonite is Isaac's timeout followed by left-handed serve. This 2-wall serve is brilliant too, by the way. There's another
nice
point.
Hop.
Contact,
Hit him.
thank you very much.
Oh, that's going to be taken away. There was contact there on that swing. Isaac says he's sorry. He's back to 18 here.
18, serves 19.
It's a very good serve. It's going to be a setup for Isaac, who pounds it into the corner and gets that 19th point. Now 2 away from taking game number 1, and now there's some crowd support from your
19,
San Jose team.
19. 3 walls, it's 1 fall. Second serve.
Nice shot right there from Garcia. This can be tough to scrape that one off, and
Oh,
Avila's
wow.
unable to do it. Now guess who's serving to win the first game? Unbelievable chain of events going on here in Santa Barbara, California, as Avila was about ready to walk away with a win. Here's the setup.
Ooh!
That's the emotion I want to hear from you, Coach. And now there's a side out, and the crowd getting involved on both ends. Tucson is representing their fellow brother.
19.
Now you know why I got all this white hair.
And now it's game point for Juan Avila. They were tied at 15, they were tied at 10, they were tied at 8, they were tied at 4, and now they're tied at 20.
Point, serves 20.
Juan Avila from Tucson trying to take game number 1, and here's that serve.
Ooh!
And there it is. Juan Avila was up against game point. He comes back and gets 2 straight and wins game number 1. We're going to take a timeout. Want to thank Roberto Chavez for stopping by the broadcast booth. We'll catch you again later in here and talk about your program in San Jose. If you want to donate to the San Jose team and to the cause that Coach Chavez is in the middle of constructing in San Jose, get a hold of us at We Play Handball at cs.com. That's We Play Handball at C as in cat, S as in Sam.com. We'll line you up with Roberto Chavez, and you can donate or help out and volunteer and that sort of thing. Thanks for coming by the booth, and we'll have more action. You can go back to coaching now, Coach.
Okay.
We'll have game number 2 in 4 minutes. Stick around at racefor8.com.
All right, second game. Score is 0-0.
And we are back for game number 2, 0-0. My name is Dave Vincent, alongside coach of the Tucson team, Abraham Montijo, coach of Juan Avila, who just took down an exciting first game, 21-20. Abe, there's a lot of crowd support on both sides for these two. And one thing I was talking about Roberto Chavez just before he left the booth here was the sportsmanship between these two players are great, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
You have to be proud as a coach of this Tucson team to see that.
Yeah, I mean, when your players playing well and they're good sports, I mean, it's icing on the cake right there.
I know that a couple years ago you brought it up to me, and I know that you talked to others that there was a certain tournament that some of the kids went to, and you were just a little unhappy as a coach about their attitudes on the court and how they presented themselves. And it looks like some of that has either been addressed or you've been working on it, or you must certainly be happy at least to see that type of progress.
Yes, it has definitely been addressed throughout the years, and we're starting to see progress, mentally with these guys, which is really nice for us to see. Sean and I and Alfonso, we work very hard with these guys with their attitudes, and when we see it happening, we feel like our work is not going to waste.
There was a thrilling game number 1 where Juan won 21-20. You saw that when Garcia took 2 different timeouts, he switched to his left hand and did that 2-wall serve and ultimately he got like 10 points off of it, or 8 or 9 points off of that serve.
Yeah.
And it seemed like he found a weakness with Juan. What did Juan do to pull out the win?
Well, he stayed. To me, it was just a game of runs. One player would score 6 in a row, the other would score 8, and so on and so forth until the very end. It was both players. It seems like one of them would come up, step up their game. The other one would either stay the same or taper off. So it was kind of a trade-off between these players. And you see that miss that he just had, that's the shot that Isaac scored a lot of points on, which is a combination of maybe him mentally not being focused, watching the ball into his hand, or maybe it's just a really good serve also.
Also see that Isaac has this little dance that he does when he's bouncing the ball here. Watch Isaac dance with the ball. Here it is. There's to the left, to the right.
Yeah, left hip, right hip.
That was a mistake, but Juan gives him the point.
And you see the clapping right there. Both teams are out here supporting their guys, which is good to see. We brought our 15 guys. San Jose brought their big bunch.
Well, I counted 12 Tucson supporters here and 9 from San Jose, 10 if you include Coach Chavez in the last match. So it's pretty equal out here in the gallery. That's just of the people that I know. And of course, they're rooting on both of the players after each one of these plays. There's some type of clapping from the crowd, but it is important to see, even through thick and thin here in that first game, both of these players just don't seem rattled at all. Very quiet and calm.
Yeah, very clean match.
Side out.
You see a little grunting. They're frustrated with each other, but they kind of blow it off. They go for the next shot.
This is the 19 and under semifinals of the contenders. How did Juan get into the contenders, and why isn't he on the team? Was there a qualifier in Tucson?
Yeah. Unfortunately, he got beat out by Ivan Lugo. Ivan Lugo was the one representing Tucson in the 19 and under. Ivan had a very good day that day, and he got him. So he got to represent the team.
Now, hasn't Juan always been better than Ivan, and all of a sudden Ivan's come back? And
no, actually, Ivan has been playing, I think, for a little bit longer than Juan, maybe a year, 6 months or so. But you always see that they've had their moments where they go back and forth, which is good. It's good to have that opponent that you could, have a good game with. You could bang around. If you have a bad day, they'll beat you, and so on. And but for the most part, Ivan has got him. Juan got him in one tournament, and Ivan's got him in other matches. But you see, to me, Juan, I would classify him as a tournament player. He elevates his game when he needs to. Practice, he'll go for some shots, experiment a little bit. And in tournaments, he breaks it out. He has no fear. you know, he'll experiment with a couple different serves until he finds something that might work.
Well, something I'm interested to talk to you about, because I know that you are friends and also the coach of Juan, is the serve that he has here where he stays down after the serve. This gives you more control, less power, but I've noticed that he's really exaggerating it. He's staying down, he's serving, keeping his head down on the ball. Is this something new that he's working on? I've played against him multiple times. I've never seen him do that. But maybe I just wasn't focusing, but I can certainly see it. Maybe it's the yellow shirt. Is this something that he's working on?
I've always, you know, we've always talked, you know, strategy, you know, where to place your feet, where to stand, and all these different techniques. And he actually tries them. You know, a lot of players will try it for one day and then just not do it again ever. He actually remembers, has a very good memory, and when he's really into it, you know, he'll drop down low. I'll tell him you need to get that ball just over the line off the back one. He'll stay low. You know,
see how he stays low after the serve and stays down, and usually when you see that, that's somebody who's focusing on the technique and making sure that they have the right placement. The ones that make mistakes are those that strike the ball and lift their their head up, and they pull themselves out of the play, and usually that means miss hits and maybe even balls that go into the ground.
Yeah.
But here he's hitting it and then staying down and following it. I just felt that was something new with him. But now knowing that he's trying to improve himself and actually working on different shots means something. He's a lot like you, and I would say that more Ivan is a lot like you, where kind of a handball rug rat, where I know that you spent most of your time your free time would be down at the club waiting to play handball against somebody. I, for a long time, saw Juan down there every single day, it seemed like, and same for Ivan Lugo. Where do these kids get that type of passion? Is it from watching you and they're learning from experience, or they just love the game so much?
Oh, I think you'd have to ask them about, you know, what would motivate them. I don't know if it's watching me, watching Sean. I do know they love traveling to tournaments and
getting out of town.
Getting out of town, yeah. So going to practice is a good way to go to tournaments. So I think that's part of the passion that you see in these guys.
And what a great place to travel to. What are your thoughts of Santa Barbara?
Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful town. This facility's nice. I mean, a huge outdoor area. We were playing basketball, football yesterday for like 3 hours. It was a really good time. And the cool thing is, it's not just, you know, the Tucson group, so to speak. We have guys from San Jose joining in, some of the little guys from Fresno, Santa Barbara. So everybody,
Modesto.
Yeah, everybody joins in the fun.
I know Robert Bell's from Reno, Nevada, and he's playing in this event.
Yeah, he's always traveled with the San Jose team.
This Santa Barbara is just a beautiful town, and it's so clean. Even the homeless people have jobs.
4, serving 6. Short ball.
Maybe I should move down here.
Maybe you could even get a job here.
I know.
Second serve.
That's just a nice host. Now, I know there's 2 different towns that have put in a bid for this Junior Cup for next year, one of them being San Jose. They would love to play this at the YMCA. They've already talked to Fred Lewis about it, and I know Tucson would be itching to allow the kids to come in and play in this event, maybe at the Tucson Racket Club. But certainly San Jose's here. Even their executive director took a trip down here, Gabrielle Cassini. I don't know if you met her, but she's just been standing near our broadcast booth. We'll definitely get her on, but they're looking to host this event next year, and they came down to scope it out.
That's a great feeling when you know that you got people wanting this tournament at their facility. I know you must like that a lot.
That's nice to know that there's
options out there for you.
Now, as of 1 o'clock this afternoon, when we tallied up the team awards through the semifinals and doubles in the quarterfinals, and there's certainly a lot of results that have not been tallied here, it was Santa Barbara with 66 points, Tucson 45. Now, you guys would have, the Tucson team would have got more points if Carlos Espinoza would have won that match. But besides that, Tucson is number 2, and I think most people predicted that it would be San Jose and then Santa Barbara taking second, or vice versa. Not throwing Tucson out there, but you guys are having a strong performance so far. It's San Jose in third place at 42 points with 33 going to the SoCal team.
Yeah, to be honest with you, that the whole points thing, it's cool for the kids, but it's for like myself, Sean, Fonzie. Um, we're just happy that the kids are playing better than they did a year ago. Just to see improvement, that's actually more worth it than the actual points. More exciting for us. A lot of heartbreak when some of these guys lose these 21-20 bet.
You know, we go on the road a lot, and you've heard this many times. I hear it all the time. You'll go to a new town. Let's say we go to Salt Lake City, for example, which is a place you and I both love. And we get approached by the locals there to say, how do we start a youth program? And it's very difficult to answer that question in just one sentence. But if you were to say, you know, in a paragraph or so, what is the kind of the roots of how you would start a youth program from scratch in a town that may or may not play handball?
Was it as an individual, if you want to be the one to start it, number one would be a location. Find a steady location that you could practice and play. Maybe work a deal with the facility hosts that maybe, you know, have these people in for free or discounts, because for these kids, if they got to pay to get into these facilities, it's going to be difficult to retain them for a long period of time. And the other helpful thing would probably find a program, an after-school program that has a curriculum or something that has a group of kids for those, for say 3 months at a time. You know, that way you have consistency. They're going to be there. Parents are going to send their kids there for, you know, 3 months, 6 months. So you have the consistency factor, and basically just get your equipment, introduce them.
So first of all, it comes down to the location. You need to find a place that will either A, three-wall court outside that might be free, B, a facility like the Tucson Racket Club with some type of inside connection to get these kids in it, either free or some type of reduced cost, and then you'd have to find donors and some financial means to get those kids into that location if it does cost money. So those would be basically would be like number one. Number two, you would have to find a person that is willing to donate time and be a volunteer, maybe even a network of friends that could pick or design certain days of the week to get these kids. But I noticed something about Tucson that is very similar to San Jose and some of these real successful groups like Santa Barbara with James Coronado and his wife, is that you guys focus on the social aspect of the game a little bit more than even the handball aspect of the game, where you do go around town and pick up these kids and bring them to the club. You put in the hours. That's why the program's successful. So to answer a question from those that we might meet up along the way, along our tour, so to speak, that say, how do you start a program? That's why it becomes a little difficult. You say to the person, are you ready for, are you ready to do this? Because it is a huge, huge commitment. Yeah, and you can't snap your fingers and just find these people. Yeah. It really takes somebody that has the time and will always be there.
Yeah, it starts with you, with the person starting this. If you're not committed, then it's a failing effort. If you find someone a partner that's as committed as you are, it's even better. You know, you double your chances right there. In case you have some compromise or something, that commitment, you know, your backup could be there. But you know, it starts at the top. You got to be committed yourself before you get other people to commit.
So a lot of things have to fall in place. I asked Roberto Chavez this question. I know it kind of catches you off guard, but if you look at it this way, a lot of tennis youth players are walking around with outfits that they're wearing to include their racket that might cost $450 to $500. They're in very expensive country clubs, and yet there is no problem getting tennis players into the sport. In handball, it seems like we're almost having to dangle, you know,
the little carrot there,
carrots in front of the kids and donate gloves and give them merchandise to try to keep them in the sport. Why is that? What's the difference in the social aspect? Because, you know, I could point out to you that Venus and Serena Williams came from Compton, and to use their response of, well, a lot of these kids come from disgruntled neighborhoods and don't have the means, but they still have the means to carry iPhones, and I see those means from these same exact kids that supposedly don't have the means.
Well, unfortunately, in the United States, we have so many sports offered in high school and middle school. Handball not being one of them, unless you're in New York or somewhere else. But you know, there's scholarships, opportunities out there for when you go to college, playing basketball, football. So that's a big reason why some of these kids, you know, pick up these sports. You know, there's a lot of potential to make millions in the future, and handball, unfortunately, not yet.
I also believe that maybe a sport like tennis or basketball or baseball is so well publicized and on the national front that those players have
10, serving 7.
role models to look up to. They've got Federer and they've got soccer players that they look up to, and that's why they want to play a sport that's a cool sport played by other real cool
and you got
celebrities.
Michael Jordan shoes,
right?
All that good stuff. But I believe if we ever made it to TV, that would just
11,
boost
7.
our numbers. I mean, imagine possibility. I mean, all these athletes are on TV. Once you get a Paul Brady, a Luis Miranda, Sean Lennon on ESPN, I mean, inspiration could happen in a heartbeat.
You're watching the WPH Junior Handball Alliance Gold Cup of California. This is the contender 19 and under semifinals between Isaac Garcia from San Jose and Juan Avila from Tucson, Arizona. Juan originally came from Freedom Park. His favorite player is Fred Lewis. I thought that he'd have Abraham Montijo on there, but that's his favorite all-time player. His favorite sport is handball. His favorite tournament, three-wall juniors at Venice Beach, which won't be this next year. It'll be in Cincinnati. And he wants to be an RN in college. And I'm not sure if he's going to Pima or University of Arizona, but he wants to be a registered nurse.
Yeah, he's hopefully, if everything goes well, he'll graduate high school this year. And he's been talking since I first started asking about his future plans. He's like, RN, I want to be an RN, which is cool. I mean, he has a plan. Now he just has to follow through, take the necessary steps to get there. And he could do it too.
This is game number 2. Garcia finds himself with a lead 11-7 after losing the first game 21-20 in a nail biter.
Time in. The score is 7, serving
And
11.
one thing I like about Juan's game as well is he actually uses his timeouts. You see some of these younger guys, they'll get frustrated and they'll keep on playing. They'll play an extra 5 points and lose them. And he won't. He actually realizes he's frustrated. He's not playing well. I think in game 1 he took 2 or all 3 of his timeouts just to regroup.
Side out.
So mentally, he's a step above some of our guys.
Now, I don't know if you're part of this, but at 3 o'clock there was scheduled a pro player exhibition. Are you part of that exhibition, or
I believe so. I believe Sean Lenning and I will be playing Anton Wilson and John Bike Jr.
Right.
So
Continue play. Score is
stay
11.
tuned for that.
So the old guys against the young guys, or Sean Lenning versus everybody on the court.
Maybe.
11, serving 7.
11 serve 7. And we will tape that pro exhibition doubles match. I think since our court is a little late, we'll bring it down to
Side out.
2 games to 15 and a tiebreaker to 11. Or 1 game to 75, I think we just determined.
7, serving 11. Point.
Let's see if Juan can start picking away at this lead
18
here.
Serving, 8, serving 11.
Garcia is able to shovel that ball back to the front wall.
Point.
One thing I noticed about Isaac is he has a very good offensive left. Very smooth. You saw him switch to that hand in the first game when he scored a bunch
9,
of points.
Serving
So
11.
he's very confident with his left. You can't really call it an offhand because it's very good.
And Juan got that back to the front wall. I don't know how he did that.
Amazing.
Point.
And he wins the point, or side out. That's unbelievable.
That's amazing. He actually lets the ball
10,
drop
serving 11.
lower than anybody on my team off the back wall. Very patient,
Point.
which is hard to teach. It wasn't too difficult to have
11,
him
serving
let
11.
the ball drop. He barely started. He was playing 6 months, and he's letting the ball
Point.
drop to his knees and shins. I'm like, wow, 6 months into it, he's already doing that.
12, serving 11.
Now he has the lead at 12-11. He was down 6-9, and then 6-10. Now he's up 12-11.
Yeah. 11-7 a minute ago. And here's another one.
Sometimes you watch these players play, Abe, and you say, where did they learn that? And how amazing was that shot?
Timeout. It's your first timeout.
And here's a timeout by Isaac. You know, he's a smart player as well. You know, he realizes Juan just scored a bunch of points in a row. And enough of that. He's going to call timeout. See if he could cool him down a little bit.
This is the Junior Handball Alliance crowning achievement, the Gold Cup of Handball, a perpetual trophy that travels around from one tournament to the next. Let's take a quick look at that trophy, which is on display at Tournament Central alongside Fred Lewis. Just out of the camera angle is Fred Lewis on this. Here it is, the traveling trophy at the tournament desk. That thing's about 3 feet tall, almost 40 pounds. And a lot of the kids, and I know part of the handball program of Tucson, stopped by and touched it and looked at it and started commenting that they'd want to win it. And it's, I went up to Fred Lewis and said, you know, Fred, this is a brilliant move that you made here. This Gold Cup has really got a lot of people motivated to want to win that trophy. I mean, that would look so good at a lot of facilities.
Yeah.
If Southern California were able to win this Gold Cup, they would put it on display at the LAAC Trophy Room. And if Tucson were to do it, they'd have to put it somewhere, maybe at the TRC. I'm not sure if it, maybe the WPH headquarters.
I might actually take it to Freedom Park and advertise it there for a few months.
That might be good there too.
But it is a very beautiful trophy, no doubt about it. Beautiful trophy. Whoever earns it it's going to be very lucky.
I'd like to see that award handed out live on this court, if at all possible. I could only imagine the celebration probably going to be pretty big. And right now, the team leader is Santa Barbara, and they said they would leave it right here in the facility. That makes it easy for us. No shipping, no handling. If they did win, they could just pick the table up and move it to its location.
Beautiful shot right there. And there's Sean Lenning too, my backup, encouraging Juan. It's very nice for me. I get to talk to you, not worry about advice or anything.
You know, that's another interesting thing here is that, you know, I was talking about that tennis scenario where some of the tennis players aren't fed all of this free stuff. But on the other hand, tennis players do not have the likes of Sean Lenning and Abraham Montijo and those other top players like a Dave Fink traveling around actually on the court giving them advice, or even in the gallery rooting them on. I mean, I don't think Roger Federer is sitting courtside at a 19 and under challenger match just routinely giving advice and cheering somebody from the same town on. That just doesn't happen. There has to be special to these guys. I mean, as soon as Sean Lenning showed up, Juan Avila, he all of a sudden scored some points. I mean,
second serve.
And we saw what happened at the collegiates when Martin Mulkerins took a timeout, trailing 10-7 in that tiebreaker against Danny Cordova, and he sat down next to Sean Lenning, and Sean gave him some advice. He walked in and scored 4 straight points to win that collegiate national championship. And he told me later, if Sean wasn't there, I would have lost, because I needed him to tell me that I was stuck in a rut and I needed to change up and go down the right wall and try to kill the ball every now and then. And I did exactly what Sean told me, because I didn't feel like I was playing for myself in there. I was playing for Sean.
That's very, very interesting.
Now, I don't know if that makes the Cordovas happy that Sean Lenning's giving the Irish advice, but
I wonder if they knew before you just said that. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, they just found out. Actually, Martin said that in a live broadcast.
Side out.
Okay, there's family right there. You know, Juan's got his 4 or 5 brothers, mom, uncle from Orange County that made the drive. Good family support.
Hold it.
This is like an Avila Saturday here on the live broadcast. We've already had 3 of them, I believe, on this.
Yeah, and all of them are studs.
16, serving 13.
I remember Alfonso would tell me stories when he used to coach a football team at Freedom Park, and these guys were in the after-school program. The 5 brothers made up the team, basically. There's a quarterback, the running back, blocker, wide receiver. I mean, they basically made the whole team, the whole family.
Team Avila.
And they were undefeated also, so.
Timeout being called here from Isaac Garcia from
He hasn't
San
looked
Jose.
right, too. He's been limping around. I know in Tucson in December, he played Ivan Lugo, and seems like he injured his foot that tournament. And I asked him if he'd recovered, and he said yes. But you know, you've seen him too. He looks like he's limping around, so might
Also
not.
looked like he gained a little bit of weight, and I know that he does play other sports. What's going on in his world right now? Is he focused on another sport like football in high school?
Well, that's a good question to ask him or the coach. But that's a good picture of Fred Lewis right there.
That's the look that we get from Fred Lewis every now and then.
If we're lucky.
That's a live shot, by the way. Look, he is not even moving.
Can someone go check his? Check his.
Is he still alive? Is this like Weekend at Bernie's? We brought Fred Lewis along, and we just propped him up there at the tournament desk. Put some sunglasses on him and a Tommy Bahama shirt.
Right.
It's a timeout being called here. Extended timeout, I believe a glove change has taken place as Isaac Garcia is now being summoned back to the court. You're watching the WPH Junior Handball Alliance Gold Cup of California, a pro exhibition with Anton Wilson, John Bike, and Sean Lenning and Abraham Montijo coming up at 3 o'clock until 4. At 4 o'clock, they have to step out of the court. You guys have to step out, as we have another great match coming up right after that. Hopefully we'll get all the kids out here to watch this fun pro event. The courts seem rather dark, Abe. I don't know. I know it's not going to affect you young guys, but do you see a difference here, or am I just hallucinating? On the camera monitors, we've adjusted the white balance so it looks like it's really light in there, but in the court it seems much darker.
Yeah, I think you're right, actually. It is a bit darker.
I walked into the facility yesterday and said, okay, when do they turn the lights on? And they said, no, that's the lights. I go, no, you got to be kidding me.
18, serving 13.
18 to 13 with Avila serving here. Just 3 points away from taking this and going into the finals of the 19 and under contender bracket. And there is a side out. And let's see if Garcia goes with that left-handed serve that got him the points earlier. No, he's staying with his right, Abe.
13, serving 18.
There's a big setup. Let's see. That's a good shot by Isaac. You can see San Jose
14,
right behind
18.
the Tucson group. They have their 10, 20 players right there cheering Isaac on as well.
Side out.
Unfortunate. That might be an effect of those legs, injured leg.
Serving 14.
Score here is 18 to 14, game number 2.
Short.
The 19 and under contender bracket.
Second serve.
A little change of pace right there. It's good to see. Means he's relaxed.
Oh, they will shoot play the ball.
Both of these players playing close there, but that really kind of the fault of themselves for hitting the ball back at themselves
18.
after each shot.
Serving 14.
Just going to replay this. 18 to 14. Does
That
Juan
might-
have a serve down the right from that same position? Because it would be pretty good to break one about now, as he's
Yeah, you're
pretty
right.
much given a steady dose down that left wall.
And he actually does have a serve down the right. And when he hits it right, it's very good.
Side out.
You know, maybe he just feels confident right now with going down the left, but
14.
you never
serving
know.
18.
He might figure it out when he has, hopefully when he has 20.
Side out.
I think right about now would be a great time to sneak one down that right wall, just to keep Garcia honest,
18. Serving 14.
if anything. I don't know if you need to if you have a good serve like that, though.
Yeah, just keeping it off the back wall. Nice, very nice shot. Got his arm up before he hit the
Timeout.
shot. He was in
It's your
position.
last time out in 2 minutes.
Very smooth swing.
It was interesting to hear referee Brant Bittigan say to Garcia that you just taken your last timeout and you have 2 minutes. It's actually not a 2-minute timeout, it's a 1-minute timeout. 2 minutes for glove changes.
Pedro.
Might have just been a Freudian slip. You're watching the Gold Cup of Junior Handball here in Santa Barbara, California at the YMCA. First game went to Avila, 21-20, and now another close one. But it looks to me as if Isaac just is injured, like you said, he injured his leg or something, just not transferring his weight properly. And now Juan is serving to take the win and the match.
Possible match point, serves 14.
Wow, nice. Like you said, he has a good developed left hand.
Yeah. And I would actually say Juan seemed to, he popped up a little
14,
bit. Maybe getting a little excited. He didn't stay through on that ball. Here he does.
Hold it.
Oh, right back at himself. Unfortunate. And he knows that he's frustrated.
14, serving match point.
Could have been called a screen, no call.
I can't see it from right here.
That ball actually hit Garcia on the way up. Referee's calling a screen on the serve. Garcia doesn't agree with it.
I think it's a late call, but it was a screen.
It's the right call, but the late call.
Yeah, late call. It's
all right, you have 2 serves.
Yeah.
Score is 14, serving match
I
point.
like what the ref is doing here. He actually moved right back, dead center on the back wall to
it's
see
good for him.
Point.
if it is a screen, and there's a point for Garcia.
15.
That's smart of the
serving match
referee. He
point.
says, well, let me see what you're seeing because I don't see that as a screen, but maybe.
You know, Brant, he knows he's been through that where he has his share of bad refs that they can't see, so he knows he's an experienced young man.
16, serving match point.
National champion in 3-wall. And now the 17th point for
So here comes a run by Isaac.
Garcia. You knew it was going to happen,
Yeah.
and now it is.
17, serving match point.
Here's a setup.
Point.
Now Garcia within 2.
Yep. Here's where you gotta dig deep.
18,
Dig deep.
serving match point.
You've heard of 10th frame bowlers. They seem to get better in the 10th frame. Well, Garcia's a late game bloomer. And there's a 19th point now for Isaac Garcia trying to get the 20th to force a tiebreaker. And a timeout being called from Juan Avila here in the semifinals of this Contenders in the 19 and under division. My name is Dave Vincent alongside Coach Abraham Montijo as we take a look at this packed audience that we have in the Santa Barbara YMCA. Unfortunately, our broadcast booth is cutting down on what would probably make this one of the most loud events of this tournament so far.
And there's Avila sticking his face in there.
Ivan Lugo
standing right in front of the camera.
Right in front of our camera there, our crowd camera. We have Ivan standing right in front of it. I like how Garcia stays on the court here during that timeout.
All right, time in. 19, serving match point.
There's a little more power there from
And
Juan. And
very, very lucky crack. He just, I would
made
like
the
to say
difference.
he aimed for it, but
Possible match point, serves 19.
let's see. Wait for the crack again. No setup.
wow, that's
And
it
there
right
it is.
there. And Avila takes down Isaac Garcia, 21-20, 21-19, and advances to the finals of the 19 and under division. We're going to take a quick timeout, allow you to give your yourself a little bit of court time here as you get on with the Pro Player Exhibition with Sean Lenny, Anton Wilson, and John Bike. Abraham Montijo, thanks for stopping by the booth.
Thank you for having me.
And we will chat with you later on during this tournament. We'll have that Pro Player Exhibition next. You're watching the WPH Junior Handball Alliance Gold Cup of California in Santa Barbara at the YMCA. We'll have more action in just a few minutes right here courtside. Stick with us at racefor8.com.
What's up, man? You left some leaves burning out here.
Yeah, I just just came in just for a second.
Come on, man. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. You could torch the whole neighborhood.
It's a good point there, Smokey.
9 out of 10 wildfires are caused by humans.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hello, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green. Our non-toxic, biodegradable, all-purpose cleaner works great for cleaning it. Thank you. Non-toxic, biodegradable, Simple Green. It's great for cleaning.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.